Alright, welcome to our series finale of this Eternal Freeze, Articuno and Dusknoir series. And we're going to be up against a player named Regilee, who's got a Team Plasma deck, you know, the deoxys and whatever big basic Team Plasma Pokemon you think are best. Can be built a lot of different ways, and definitely one of the best decks in the format. And we're going to see how this stacks up. We've already beaten one of these, but we're going to get a mulligan draw, which is in Dusknoir. And let's see what we got. We get to go first. No supporter in this opening hand, which is kind of bad, but we do have some decent stuff. We got a Verbank and a laser. We're just going to attach a water energy. You know, maybe we get a Colorless Machine. We can threaten a turn 2 Blizzard at the very least. Stays asleep on laser. Don't know how relevant that is. If he's Turbo Lugia, you know, maybe would have been very relevant. Locks out Floatstone as a switch option. But goes on a blend energy, so that pretty much says there's not going to be much of a threat of a turn 1 Plasma Gale. And in fact, he just scramble switches into the bench Lugia there. He threw down a couple more, which is kind of interesting. You know, he had those in his opening hand, I guess. So I guess he just didn't want them to get captured. Not really sure what the point of that was. I don't think I end him there. No, I didn't end him there. So anyway, I had the Colors for 3, and with that he got a third Deoxys, which is probably unnecessary versus 170 HP EXs. And my top deck was a Skyla, so I got some decisions to make here. I have a little bit too much stuff in my hand to want to just throw it all away, so I'm thinking no Juniper. He has 2 cards in his hand, so I'm thinking not in. So my only supporter that I'm really interested in taking right now is Kyurem, and who knows if that's going to get me anything that's, you know, useful enough. So instead I decide, you know what, we're just going to stay on top deck mode. I'm going to use this to get a Colorless Machine. Looks like we have 3 Plasma Energy left in the deck, so that's going to be good. We don't have 1 prize. That's going to be important to note for later. And yeah, instead of grabbing a supporter and going for the safer play, we're going to be a little bit aggressive here. We're going to go ahead and get 100 damage on the board with Blizzard, 60 to the active, 10 to each of the bench, so that's a total of 40. And then a Keldeo EX comes down. Now, Keldeo, of course, sort of the bane of this deck, but as I often say, one Keldeo does not win you the game against a paralysis lock deck. That goes for this deck, as well as for the Gothitelic Selgor deck that won US Nationals, which was way after this game was filmed, but anyway. So in this hand, we don't have too much else more. I'm not going to bench this Articuno. It's just the catcher and stall a turn target at this point. We're just going to throw 110 damage on the board. So we now have 210 damage racked up on the board. And Keldeo's going to get switched out for Deoxys. Okay. And the thing I like about this board position right now for my opponent is that there is exactly 1 Keldeo, and there are no open bench spots. You know, he did not leave a bench spot open for a second Keldeo. Maybe he doesn't even play a second one. But I am kind of licking my chops at that. So we're going to get another 110 damage on the board. And we should be up to 320 now. So that's enough to almost at least knock out 2 EXs. We need 360 for that. For 180 HP EXs anyway. But we proceed to get in. I had a level ball in my hand there. Didn't play it. Probably should have. You know, getting out a Duskull would have been very nice. But now we see a Colorless Machine and a Prism Energy, and that's going to allow a Helix Force for 120 damage. They got 3 energy attached. Fortunately, though, that in we got some more basics. And yeah, you know, we have all this damage racked up right now. We're going to probably go ahead and maybe take this knockout, or else looks like we're going to catch up this Keldeo for sure. And Frost Prison inactive. You know, we got a Dusknoir in the hand. You know, again, if I had had that Duskull in play last turn, maybe I could have used one of these ball cards to get out a Dusclops and then have a Noir safe for the next turn. Because now looking at how much damage that Keldeo's taken, I actually don't want to knock it out. So he captures my Duskull and ends me into a hand of... Well, we got some supporters and we got some pieces of the Noir line, so you know, maybe we can get a rare candy or a Skyla. That would be fantastic. But anyway, yeah, if I take this knockout on this Keldeo, Articuno goes down to a Helix Force. So taking the Keldeo out right now is actually kind of a death pack. I want to force him to have some way to retreat that Keldeo before anything else really happens. So looking at what I got here, we're going to transform into a Duskull there, and what am I going to decide to do? At this point, I'm thinking, I'd like to keep up this lock. You know, I could N or I could Juniper. I'd like to draw into the best draw would be an Energy, a Rare Candy, and a Dusknoir. And, you know, we can retreat, we can Rare Candy Dusknoir, and proceed to continue the lock. Actually, we need a switch right now to either an Evolve into Dusknoir, the active and Floatstone switch, or just a switch to get out of the sleep, which I stayed asleep on laser, of course. But yeah, now looking at what I could do, looking at how much damage we have built up, you know, it's a lot, but we can't cash it in for anything unless Dusknoir is in play. So, you know, I was able to get another Duskull off that N for 6, and, you know, looking at this board position, I don't really lose too much if this active Duskull dies, which it's going to, if I just pass. It's going to die going back into his turn. You know, now I've got 3 Duskull in play, so I'll just pass. Duskull pass, that's a joke that's probably going to go over most viewers of this channel's head. But anyway, I was there when it happened. So I'm just going to attach an energy to this Duskull, so we'll be able to retreat it off next turn. And really the only thing I lose with this play is I just seed a prize. I don't really seed any board position. I still have 2 Duskull in play. I'm still going to be able to get a Dusknoir on the next turn. So Articuno does, however, get captured up, and there's a laser. I have 50 HP left, so I'm going to be able to survive 1 hit of that, but I'm definitely going to have to get back to the bench and clear that poison right now. And we'll see if there's a switch or anything, which if there was a switch, the laser was pointless. Looks like he just attaches a plasma energy to Keldeo and passes, but that's, you know, certainly makes things rougher for us, because now any 1 energy and he's going to be able to retreat. So, you know, instinctively I want to clear this poison, so I switch and retreat, and now I realize that, oh, wait a minute, he just needs 1 more energy to attack with, retreat Keldeo and attack with the deoxys. So, we're gonna go ahead and evolve one of these benched Duskulls into a Dusclops, and at this point I'm thinking, you know what, I do have a candy already in my hand or something. I think I'm gonna need one of these guys, one of my ghosts on the bench, to be a meat shield for me, or maybe just Ditto. Ditto might be the best option to be a meat shield for me right now. So we're going to retreat. Why did I bring up the attack list? We're going to retreat. Oh, wait a minute. I already retreated this turn. Ah, that was a mistake. So now I can either eat my loss, or I can switch, burn my second switch of the turn when I really should have just used a retreat, and that's it. So I've wasted 2 switches in this turn. That's terrible. That is going to severely limit my options to get out of, you know, staying asleep on the toxic laser. But we're just going to push up the blob of goo Ditto, and hope he doesn't have Catcher, I guess. He's probably going to have an energy. In fact, there's a double colorless. You know, since he's got Lugia, of course, he's going to run some of those. But I'm just going to retreat that off. And, oh, there's Catcher. And here comes 120, 150 actually. And if you ask me right now, what are my odds of winning this game? Well, my only attacker just went down. And I have pretty much a naked board. So we're going to just attach water to this Ditto. Maybe it can become an Articuno at some point. And let's see what we want to do. You know, right now there's a bunch of crap on the board that I can't handle, and long-term viewers of myself, as well as Xerxes, will know that whenever there's crap that you can't handle, there's one Pokemon that will handle your crap for you, and its name is Dusknoir. Sinister Hand. It's gonna come through for us right now, this turn. And, you know, he's got one attacker that's really powered up, which is this Deoxys. It's actually not that threatening right now, since I don't have, well, I guess I've got this 1 energy on board. That would deal 60 with Helix Force. But we're going to go ahead and take this knockout on this active Deoxys, and then from there we'll see what he wants to promote. I believe we did a Frost Prison on that Keldeo, so we should have about 400 damage on the board, I believe. So we're going to knock out this Deoxys. It's going to take a couple years, but bear with me, guys. We're going to do it. There we go. It's knocked out. And we're going to see what we get off these prizes. Now I've already played Skylo this turn, so I couldn't use that Juniper in my hand, which would have been probably the better thing before I took 2 prizes. And we get an N, and we get a Float Stone. Float Stone's going to be immediately useful. We're going to go ahead and slap that on Noir right away. And let's see what we got. We got Blend Energy, and the other Lugia I think may have a double colorless actually, but maybe that's next turn. That other Lugia has some kind of energy on it at least, but now he does have. You know, I kind of hated to do that because now he's got a open bench spot. He could bench a second Keldeo, although we do, however, so we cashed in that 400 damage. We cashed in 180 for 2 prizes, so we actually do have enough left to take another EX knockout. And actually, yes, there is actually a double colorless on that Lugia. I was not seeing that wrong. Double colorless on Lugia, of course, that is a big threat. You know, an attachment and a colorless machine. It's very easy for him to Plasma Gale. Go ahead and pick up 2 prizes with that. So I'm feeling a little bit threatened by that, so I can't take it. So Noir is going to take it for me. That is what he does. We're going to move enough damage on there. Go down to, it's going to be about 40, maybe 60 damage on board. I'm not quite sure. Definitely less than 100 damage on board, though. And we're going to cash that in for 2 more prizes. Take a 4-prize turn without attacking. That's how we like to roll with this deck. And there it is. We're going to take 2 more prizes. We got a candy. And something useful, please. We got a colorless machine. Okay. You know, we're probably going to end up junipering this hand away. So colorless machine's not going to be useful right now unless we top deck an Articuno, which would be very nice. We'll be able to go ahead and use it before we have to discard it. He goes ahead and fills up his bench again, though. He gets down a Thundurus and a Kyurem, and at that point, I'm feeling very grateful that he did not throw down a second Keldeo. Again, he might not even run 2 Keldeo, but you know, filling up that bench again puts me at a very more relaxed position. That now I don't have to worry about the second Keldeo coming down, double rush in, all that stuff that just beats paralysis decks. Unless you have Tool Scrapper, which this deck might have 1 Tool Scrapper, but even then. You know, I don't have item lock to prevent another one from coming down. So he Ultra Balls away for a, or excuse me, Plasma Balls for a Thundurus, and that's probably just to thin it out. He doesn't want to draw it with Juniper, so he proceeds to just discard it anyway. So just filters out a card he doesn't want to draw. And might be looking for a 3rd colorless machine here. I believe he attached a Plasma Energy from the hand already. So he's going to be stuck at 3 energy. Catches out a Dusknoir. You know, not really sure why I guess it's to attempt to try to stall the turn. You know, if we were going for an offensive catcher, of course with deoxys on board, Dusknoir is going to be the better target there. But it does have a Float Stone, so it's not going to be a defensive catcher target very much. So we're going to get this second Water Energy onto the Ditto. Clearly he's fearing the transform into a Articuno. So, but look at that, we do actually get an Articuno and a colorless machine. But I have, you know, I already blew both my switches. I already used my attachment for the turn. So we're going to go ahead and transform, and I suppose we may as well use this colorless machine before I accidentally draw the Plasma Energy. It seems like something that I would be prone to be doing. So we're looking at the discard pile, seeing what resources we've used. Yep, we've used both switches. We used both switches in the course of 1 turn, which was a very bad thing. I suppose we could go ahead and blow this level ball. There's not really going to be anything else I want to put out. I don't even really want to bench this other Dusknoir, so we're just going to use this. Take a look at what's left in the deck. We do have a Float Stone left. I think we're just going to... should use this colorless machine. I guess that also can confirm that we do have... or do we have it? I think we do. Pretty sure we do. Maybe I'm crazy and see that we don't, but even if there's no Plasma Energy left in the deck, I should still go ahead and spin that colorless machine to bin for a 2-card in. So I'm not sure why I didn't play it right there, making the opposite mistake that I made in the previous game, maybe against the Plasma Clang, where I played it too early. But there is a Prism Energy, and that's going to mean 2 Plasma Gales, enough energy for 2 Plasma Gales, and there is a Skyla. What is this going to get? It's going to get a Float Stone, and Keldeo does not have a Float Stone yet, so he's going to get the Float Stone now. And yep, that's going to make our life a lot harder. It's going to mean we cannot lock anything active except for Keldeo. So I'm going to push up Noir, and okay, good. I drew an energy, but it was not a Plasma Energy. Keldeo's got a little bit of damage on it right now. Noir can't quite get me there this turn. So we're going to attach a water energy from the hand. It gets glitched and it looks like it's overlaying another energy, which is odd. But oh well. Just taking a peek at how much damage is on the board. Looks like it's about a couple of guys have 20 damage on them. We're going to catch up this Keldeo, and again, I don't know why I didn't use Caller's Machine on the last turn. You know, risk drawing the plasma energy in my hand this turn. That's terrible. But fortunately for me, I did not. And we're going to retreat with Floatstone, and yeah, you can see my energy is definitely all sorts messed up. What we're going to do is actually move all the energy up to Keldeo. I guess in theory I could say this is in case Noir gets knocked out, but he has one prize left, so if Noir gets knocked out, we lose. So we're going to move a total of, it's going to be, is that 80? Yep, that's going to be 80 damage on him. He's got 90 HP left. So we are going to Frost Prison, of course. We need to reduce the chances of him having the capacity to use Plasma Gale on Dusknoir to as low as possible, and we're going to Frost Prison so that Keldeo won't be able to manually retreat. It's going to have a switch. An escape rope would actually be perfect right here for my opponent to have. Either that, or more likely to be played cards, a switch and a catcher. That would be a game-winning play, assuming he's got another energy, I believe. He's got about 8. He's got 8 cards in his hand. I've got 3. You know, I'm kind of just playing off my board at this point. It's pretty much all on the table right now. It's gonna come down to, can he switch out this Keldeo? Can he take this knockout? There's a switch, but he switches into a Thundurus EX, actually, surprisingly. Just attaches the energy, and you know, Ride and Knuckle is not gonna be that helpful. He's gonna need the catcher, and you know, Ride and Knuckle's not gonna knock out Dusknoir. So yeah, he proceeds to end himself to 1. I guess he's fishing for something, but whatever he gets, it looks like it's not sufficient. I do get a supporter. It's a Shirin off my 3 cards, but you know, I don't really need anything in my hand right now. See, we got that 10 HP left on Keldeo. Make sure it's a Floatstone, not an Eviolite, and Blizzard for the game-winning play, knocking out that Keldeo, the nemesis of this deck. And that's gonna conclude it for this series. I drew 59 cards. MVP Articuno, Deoxys. So yeah, it's gonna be it for this series. You know, kind of from the outset, we knew that Keldeo EX, bane of paralysis lock decks right now, or right now in the current, as of this posting, and definitely as of this filming format. But you know, if there's only one Keldeo EX, I kept telling myself I can still win, and you know, losing that attacker built up Articuno, having 1 plasma energy left in circulation. It was extremely unlikely we were going to be able to come back from that, but who better to lead you to a comeback from being down on board position than Dusknoir. One of the best abilities, Poké Powers, whatever, ever printed. And yeah, he's going to finish off this series for us. That's going to be it. Probably not going to do any more TCGO vids until Plasma Blast is released. And of course, with Plasma Blast, we are going to have to bid farewell to Eternal Freeze. Virizion EX completely blocking Paralysis. You know, I can't catcher that up and lock it active at all. So unfortunately, Eternal Freeze has played its last game. It has been filed under the retired deck sections on my list. And you know, it was a very fun deck while it lasted, but it's going to be time to say bye-bye to it now. So next TCGO stuff we'll have up will be Plasma Blast. Next Destinies through Plasma Blast format should be the next update to TCGO. And we're probably going to kick that off with a little pack opening of the token bot 5-card booster packs. See what we can get from that, and then fill in our needs from there. Yeah, thank you guys for watching. Hope you enjoyed this entire series if you watched it. And see you guys for more non-paralysis lock decks later. Later days!